Hey, welcome to The Explainer. We're always told to climb that career ladder, right? Go, go, go at all costs. But what happens if that climb forces you to leave your actual principles at the bottom? Well, today we're diving into some amazing insights from a recent leadership conference that maps out a totally different path. One where your integrity isn't a roadblock, but the actual fuel for your success.
So, this is really the big question, isn't it? Does the modern workplace really force you to choose between getting ahead and, being a good person? Between raw ambition and your own integrity? The speakers we're covering today say absolutely not. They argue this is a false choice, and they actually have a playbook for how to have both.
All right, so the very first idea that came out of this conference is this really radical shift in how you see things. What if your personal values, or in their case their faith, wasn't some kind of limitation in the marketplace, but was actually your greatest strategic asset? They even gave this concept a name, the Holy Spirit Advantage.
Now, the key here is that this isn't just some abstract feel-good belief. The speakers framed it as a practical, active guide. Think of it like a co-pilot that helps you navigate everything, from those huge career moves to the tiny, everyday decisions. It's about making sure you're always in the right place, doing the right work. And this wasn't just theory, not at all. One of the speakers at Jockey Audiola, she put it so bluntly. She basically said, "Look at my life, I'm the proof." And her story shows exactly how this so-called advantage played out for her, leading directly to the creation of a really impactful social mission.
And check out how it happened. It wasn't some lightning bolt of inspiration out of nowhere. It was a simple, step-by-step process. First, she needed an idea, so she prayed. Then, she felt prompted to just take a walk. And on that walk, she remembered this old passion of hers. And finally, she acted on it, submitted the idea, and got the funding. This simple chain of events leads us straight to our very first principle.
That story brings us right here, to the first big, actionable principle: start small. We so often wait for the perfect moment, right? Or for that one big opportunity. But the speakers argued that real, lasting impact almost always begins with something that seems, pretty insignificant at first.
So remember that funding that launched this whole social mission we just mentioned? How much do you think it was? Some massive, life-changing grant? Nope. It was $5,000. That's it. A surprisingly small amount to kickstart a pretty big dream.
And that is the whole point. The actual amount of money wasn't what mattered. What mattered is that she started with what was already in her hand. It's such a powerful reminder to just stop waiting for the perfect resources and instead ask yourself, okay, what do I have right now that I can use?
So where can you start small? The speakers gave these fantastic, super concrete examples. You don't need a huge business plan, you don't need a budget. You can start right in your own community, maybe in your church, with a skill you already have, or even on a totally free platform like Instagram. The point is to just start.
Okay, so you've started. Now what? How do you actually grow? Well, this brings us right to the second principle: build with integrity. And this is all about making honesty and transparency completely non-negotiable, especially when it comes to the tricky stuff, like money. One speaker shared this really powerful example from his own business. He makes it a rule, an absolute rule, to be completely transparent with his partners about the finances. No hidden fees, no shady accounting. He even explicitly tells them how much money is being set aside just for taxes. And the proof is right here in the numbers. His organization has remitted over 3 million Nigerian naira in taxes. But listen, this isn't just about being a good citizen. This is a critical business strategy. Because here's the payoff. When you operate with that level of rock-solid integrity, you become the exact kind of partner that large, serious clients are desperately looking for. They need to work with organizations that are fully compliant. This just proves that integrity isn't a cost. It's an investment that opens much, much bigger doors down the line. So you've started small and you're building with integrity. The final piece of this puzzle is principle number 3: choose excellence. This is the idea that true influence doesn't come from being the loudest person in the room. It comes from being the absolute best at what you do. So, what do you think? In the world we live in today, which one of these gets you further? Building deep, undeniable skill in your craft, or focusing on networking and just getting your name out there? It's that classic career dilemma, right? Well, the speakers answered with this really powerful quote. The idea is that diligence and excellence are the foundation. When you are truly, genuinely excellent at your work, visibility isn't something you have to chase after anymore. It just follows you. The right people will find you. And here's that exact idea in action. One speaker shared her story from back in 2009. She took an unpaid role, but she refused to treat it like one. She delivered with such excellence that within a single month, the managing director himself took notice. By the second month, she was offered a paid position, not based on her interview, but on the incredible skill they had already seen. Her work became her best advertisement.
So what happens when you combine all three of these principles? You start small, you build with integrity, and you choose excellence. The speakers argued that the ultimate outcome is achieving real, meaningful influence, but in a sustainable way that doesn't lead to burnout. It's about building something that lasts, not just chasing short-term wins.
And that brings us to the final thought for today. If diligence in your work is the true path to influence, then maybe the most important question isn't what job do I want in the future? Maybe the real question is, what work is in my hands right now, and how excellently can I possibly do it?